I'm going to just capture a recording just in case.
Is there a Word doc, by the way?
There is a Word doc. I forgot. I have to specifically share it with you guys. Scott. There you go. 'Tis sent.
Where'd you send it?
To your Gmail.
Oh, Gmail. Okay.
I just shared it with you.
Oh, no worries. I didn't know if you were sending the link in Discord or something.
No, I should have probably done that, but here we are.
Okie day.
All right. Sorry for the confusion, everybody. Oh, wow. I put out a tweet earlier today just because I'm very bad at figuring out who I would want to guest on the podcast, and a lot of people responded.
I'm not surprised. You got those connections. You got those peeps.
I was very specifically like, hey, like I want people that actually would like maybe listen to the show and know what they're kind of getting themselves, like you would be interested in how we do stuff. Now I just have to sort through the people that actually mean it. That's the test. That's the real test.
How many of them are men?
Yeah, how many of them are men? I think all of them are men, which is just telling. Yes. All of them. 100% male ratio. Which, I'm used to. I can't keep them away. Couldn't keep them away with a 10-foot pole. I'm too tantalizing. Oh God! All right, we can never release this podcast. take us off the internet. Oh, hold on. I have to check one thing. I'm missing some bachelor party activities right now. It's a bummer, but it's okay. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen tonight or not, but
Barrett's?
Yeah. We're doing multiple things, so it's not big. We're going to do some Discord hangout sessions, so. All right, let's now I think I'm good now. I'm making sure I kind of just want to make sure that the audio looks okay. I kind of just want to make sure that. Give me 1 sec, guys. What's new?
No problem. Out of drink. I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick while that's being figured out. Is that cool?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Sorry for all the technology hiccups tonight.
What were you gonna do with for the party? I'm just curious.
We were just gonna play some games on Discord.
Okay, like Jackbox or something.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what we were gonna do. Actually, Jackbox was one of them. That was Dornbush's idea. So, let me see. How does this look and sound? If I wave my arms, how delayed are they now? Let me see. How does this look and sound? If I wave my arms, how delayed are they now? Pretty delayed.
Probably about 3 seconds.
Yeah. I should make sure the audio is lined up with that.
Dibbidi dibbidi doo.
Dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
All right. Let's roll.
Enough of the shenanigans.
Enough of these goddamn shenanigans.
Like, that's enough.
I run a tight ship here, clearly. All right. It is Saturday, Jesus, don't even know what I say at the beginning of this podcast. That, like I said, it is Saturday. I have no idea what comes after that. May 23rd, I think, is what I say. Oh, jeez.
If it's the 23rd.
I think so.
It is indeed the 23rd.
I have it in the upper corner of my computer so I don't forget. It is Saturday, May 23rd, 2020, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, your host on this podcast that we are about to begin, Ensemble. And joining me this week, as always, Mr. Tony Horvath.
Hey.
Mr. Brian Albertson Jackson.
Dude, feel the sting of my Valiantium blade.
What? And joining us this week, Mr. Scott White.
I get that reference.
Really?
Wonderful 101.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'll allow it then because I barely remember any of the dialogue of that game. Welcome, hey everybody. Welcome to Irrational Passions podcast. This weirdly haphazardly thrown together podcast that we're enjoying right now. Apologies to anybody watching live because we're not on YouTube right now like we normally would be because I couldn't get the software I used to work. So we're just doing it live. As per usual, we are live on Twitch, which we usually are, Saturday nights around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then up on your podcast service of choice on Tuesday mornings. So that's it. We're in it. I'm going to just keep going with it because that's the hand I've been dealt. No Scott Guthier tonight. He might be joining us in a little over an hour, but I don't think so, just because he has to work late tonight. But we're sending our love to him wherever he is. And we have another Scott. Just one falls
tagged
down.
out.
Yeah, just throw another one on the Barbie. But we've got a very good show tonight. I always like it when Scott's not here, only for that means I get to introduce Tony first. And I know, Tony, that I'm just throwing you into the deep end with that one. You came through tonight though. I like the hay. Let's just talk about video games. I almost want to skip housekeeping, but real quick, if you are unfamiliar, Irrational Passions Podcast is a podcast brought to you by irrationalpassions.com. On that website, there's some really cool stuff, including this week's episode of RPG University, hosted by you, Scott. Who was on this week?
Talked about a little game called Chrono Trigger that some people might be familiar with.
That's a big one. I would say that's a big deal. Who'd you talk about Chrono Trigger with?
Mr. Matt Storm, aka Matt Stormageddon, came on and we chit-chatted about it. It was a good time. A lot of fun.
Shout out to Matt Storm because he's sent in questions to this podcast for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like a good dude.
He is a good dude. Very good dude. Just got drawn as a Bulbasaur, I guess. So that was pretty cool.
Hell yeah. And Chrono Trigger is a big deal video game, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys talk about how much you just want it remade, remastered? Please.
We touched on it a little bit, but we kind of decided that it's one of those games that would be better served just kind of leaving it alone. I would prefer another Chrono game as opposed to a remake of Chrono Trigger, because I don't think a lot of those old SNES games would do good with like a Final Fantasy VII remake style of production. So,
yeah, I like the idea of a more modern way to play Chrono Trigger, just because it is getting to that point where it's a little tough to do it without emulating it, I would say.
It's on Steam.
Yeah,
it's on mobile devices. But you can get it on pretty much everything. It's really not that difficult.
That version is just infamously poorly regarded. That's all.
They did fix a lot of the issues people had with it, though, like the graphics and things. Like they went back in and fixed a lot of it.
Yeah, I think the Steam version is clear now.
PC, I would say, like the Steam version, I would say is a pretty safe bet at this point. Just make sure you install kind of like some of the fixes.
Yeah,
but hands down, we did agree that the DS version is the best version of Chrono Trigger. Yes.
Nice.
But go listen to it. It's great.
Yeah. You should always listen to RPGU. On podcast service, on your podcast service of choice, wherever it is. I'm sure it's probably there. If not, you can just dump that RSS feed into it, and you're good to go. A couple other things I just want to shout out on the website. Quinn wrote a really interesting feature about a car that he fell in love with in car games. And it's been fun. Like, we all, I think, have had different things that we play during quarantine hours, like big quarantine times. And Quinn's been playing a lot of driving games. And he's been using a similar car across most of them. So it's been cool to hear his story about that. It's a feature up. You can go read right now. And I also just want to shout out the fireside chat, an option and I had with Barrett Courtney about Persona 5. Again, if you missed it, if you're playing Persona 5 Royal, like Tony and Scott are, maybe you're getting close to the end or something, you should go listen to it. The first 36 minutes or so are spoiler-free, and then the next 2 hours are spoiler-filled. So you have a little bit to check out before you finish, and then plenty to hear after. And I feel really good about that podcast. I always considered the Irrational Passions Persona spoiler cast like the definitive spoiler cast for Persona games, and I would put this in a similar tier. So go give it a listen. But that's it. That's irrationalpassions.com. Bunch of cool stuff up there outside of the stuff I mentioned. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about video games. Scott White, it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
What you been playing, man?
I've been playing a lot of Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 5 Royal. I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing a little bit of Trials of Mana. I would say those are my main ones.
I mentioned it on the show because I remember you talking about it in Slack how you've been kind of going through Resident Evil for the first time. Really?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of spurred this on?
Really, it was Resident Evil 3 coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Previous to that, I had only ever beaten the Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 5.
Oh.
I had played all of them with exception of 6. I haven't played 6 yet. But I had played them before, but growing up when I was younger, I could not wrap my head around the tank controls. And when the remaster for the PS4 and everything came out and they had the updated controls, I always wanted to go back and finally get into the older games. So I figured what better time since Resident Evil 3 was coming out and I had way too much time on my hands right now with the quarantine. I was like, yeah, let's do that. So finally went through and played through Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil Revelations, and I'm just about done with a co-op playthrough of Resident Evil 5 again, just to kind of get it done again, because I had played it originally on Xbox 360 when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
So playing through that, and then I beat Resident Evil 3 when that came out. So yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. It really was striking. Like, I knew there was a big shift tonally and mechanic wise from like 3 to the later games.
Yeah.
But going pretty much from Resident Evil 1 and 0 to Resident Evil 5, it's so crazy. Like, Resident Evil 5 is just, it's fun, but it's an action movie. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy it. I enjoyed it back when I originally played it. So
I feel like Resident Evil 4 has that too, though. Like, it's definitely more atmospheric, and I think like it leans more into kind of setting a tone. You have a lot of like long, quiet sections where you're just kind of surrounded by evil dudes, but also Leon is like a dick that whole game, and he's like overconfident and ridiculous. So
I'm looking forward to going through Resident Evil 4 and actually beating it. I never got probably more than a couple hours into the game before, so even though I have a general idea of what goes on, I've never finished it. So I'll try and get to that after Resident Evil 5. But no, I've been enjoying it, and Trials of Mana I think I've really enjoyed Trials of Mana.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some hiccups, like it's got some bumps. It's a rough gem, I would say. But I think what it does, I love the combat system of it. The music is fantastic. I think aesthetically speaking, it nails it. But when it comes to the Voiceover, that's really, really hit or miss. It's quite jarring. And some of the animations are a bit stiff with the characters. So I think if they invest like a bit more money into a new Trials game, or if they remake Legends or what have you, I think it could really be something special and like really bring back the Mana series, which I would love to see.
It's interesting, like this remake, like one because what's it? Seiken Densetsu 2 is
Three.
the 3 is the original game. Like I didn't know. I knew, like, as someone who's a huge fan of Secret of Mana, like I have wanted the sequel to that, or like the kind of next iteration of that. For a very long time, I played like Sword of Mana on the Game Boy. I think it was either Game Boy or Game Boy Advance. And like I've played a lot of the Mana games. There's a few DS ones that were kind of built around co-op and everything too.
Yeah,
that I played all by myself. As I'm sure Scott, any JRPG fan knows. All those Japanese handheld JRPGs that come to the West that you're like, I guess I'll play this alone. Well, I don't have public transportation or friends. What is this?
Yep.
But I think that series does some really cool stuff as it goes, and I think I like it as a kind of top-down 2D action RPG series more so than the idea, at least, of it coming in 3D. But I played the demo of this, and it feels like they put a lot of work into that combat system and kind of making this whole action-oriented system like more modern, which is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. This seems like they could maybe use this as a jumping off point to bring that franchise back. Do you think that's what they would want to do, or is this just for fun?
I think that's what they've geared this to do.
Yeah.
It's clearly they spent a lot more time on this remake than they did with the 3D remake of Secret of Mana. And as far as I know, this remake has actually done fairly well, like critically and commercially. Commercially, I'm not sure of, but critically, I think it's getting some pretty good reviews, and people are enjoying it. So I think, I want to say there was an interview with the developers that they're kind of using this to test the waters of bringing back the Mana series, full tilt. So I'd be down for it. I mean, more RPG series, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that sounds. Like, in theory, it sounds really cool. I just like seeing this game and being like, okay, well, listen to this voice acting. Is that what we're doing, huh?
That's a thing. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but I'm interested. I'm interested to see where they go if they continue on from here. But it feels like, just in a weird way, that game was like, I don't know. It almost seems intentional how the voice acting kind of went and how it sounds and how it feels. And I don't know if they were like specifically trying to make this kind of vibe. I don't want to say like a budget vibe because I feel like that's rude, but like a kind of like,
it's like B tier.
Yeah, like a B movie vibe almost. Super over the top, super melodramatic, and it's just like doesn't make sense to me at all. But yeah, I don't know if there is a more genuine way to make a Mana game in the modern time, then I'd be more interested in that. But yeah, you're right. Like the redone combat system and all this, the engine, I think visually looks really cool too. So we got to use all that for something.
Yeah, and I think part of the kind of the melodramatic nature of it kind of harkens back to just that this was a Super Nintendo game, so it's kind of from a different time. So whether they went that route as an homage to that kind of era, that it was very over the top and kind of crazy and silly. But
yeah, I don't know.
I hope it breathes fresh life into the series and we get a brand new AA level or single A.
At least put an A in it,
Yeah, exactly.
What characters did you pick for Trials of Mana?
I went Hawkeye, who's like the thief roguey guy. Durin, who's kind of your knight paladin class, and then Reese, who's your spear wielding Amazon.
Cool.
And I started with Hawkeye. So last time I played, I unlocked the second job classes. So yeah, it's fun. I'm looking forward to sinking a bit more time into it once I'm done with Persona 5 before Xenoblade comes out this week.
Yeah. Then JRPG after JRPG after JRPG.
Yeah, I have like the next 6 months worth of JRPGs tentatively planned. Going from Persona into another 100-hour RPG with Xenoblade, and from there I plan on going into catching up and playing the Legend of Hero games that I haven't missed, so that I'm ready this fall when Cold Steel 4 comes out, and I can blow another 100 hours in that game. So,
You gotta see where these characters go, man.
Dude, so much shit is happening and gonna happen in Cold Steel 4.
I know.
Crazy. Oh, and then Bravely Default 2 will come out at some point, so there's that too.
Oh yeah, could be fall, summer. I don't know. It was probably fall, I would expect.
And now there's Paper Mario, and who knows what else we'll have. So
God, yeah, it's been so fun. I've been texting my friend Brant Range about Paper Mario because he texted me saying, "Do you want to start a limited run podcast about this?" And I was like, maybe. And then Andrew Taylor asked me the same day if I want to start a Ghost of Tsushima podcast. And I was like, I've ascended. I have become podcasts. But it is, him and I talked a little bit about like this. It's funny how there's like this collective same feeling about Paper Mario and the Origami King. Like everyone is saying the exact same things. Like, I don't know, like this one looks okay. They might not have messed this one up. Like this same exact sentiment across so many people that it's very interesting. It's telling. It's just like, man, Nintendo, take this as a hint and run with it.
Well, considering that they've made the combat not resource based, like you have a legit just moves that you can do all the time.
Yeah,
instantly has me excited. It's like, oh, thank God, I don't have to use fucking stickers or anything and run out of them.
Or thingies, I believe, is the name of the real world objects in Sticker Star. Yeah, so totally. And I have some concerns, but at this point, I think they might be like hiding stuff in trailers to mislead us. Because I was watching there's a great Game Explain video out of them kind of like, here's everything we theorized from this 1-2 minute trailer. And they, I feel like they got the whole thing on lock. They got it all figured out. And then like the last 5 minutes of that video is them like, okay, let's talk about the combat system. We don't have a lot to go off on here. And they pull up like there's a Chinese version of the trailer that has like different shots in it, like with your party members in the field with you, which tells me that they're like specifically editing parts of the trailers in certain regions to look a certain way to mislead the audience right now, which is very Nintendo. But that's good. That has me hopeful. And it also just means I can sit there and watch that trailer over and over again. And the things that they don't want me to see, I'm just not going to see. So
it just blows my mind that they were just like, it was just a random, what was it, like a Monday morning?
It's a Thursday.
And then suddenly exploded. And it's like, no, it was the same day Tsushima had their big reveal. But it's like, how often are we just going to wake up and have like a Nintendo game reveal that's out in 2 months?
Very, very infrequently. And it's nice. It's so nice. I wonder if like that's how they're gonna announce the date for like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey 2 or anything, or like this supposed Mario HD collection. Yeah.
Now Nintendo's just realizing they don't even need to put in the effort to do Nintendo Directs anymore.
Yeah, they can just show up.
We're just going to release them. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, it's out tomorrow. So, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Show a trailer, have something. Bingo, bango. You're done.
Hopefully it's good. Fingers crossed. Anything else you've been playing, Scott?
Persona, just 100+ hours of Persona.
Any non-spoilery Persona thoughts you want to share?
It is still one of the best RPGs I have ever played.
Hell yeah. Big agree.
You should remove the one of.
And just...
and then make RPGs singular. And then say that sentence again.
This is the best RPG.
Yeah.
Don't fall into this trap, Scott.
I'm not. This
is how the contract works.
I can't play favorites like that.
Like, that's true.
It's top tier.
We all know what happens in your head, though.
It's top tier. Like, could Persona 5 Royal be my game of the year again? Maybe. I'm not putting it out there.
Maybe. If anything better comes out, I would be surprised. That's all I'd say. You know?
The only games I could see giving Persona 5 a run for its money right now are Bravely Default 2 and Cold Steel 4.
Oh yeah, those franchises that also are in your heart. Yeah, I don't know. It's telling. It's cool that I've been, you know, being so removed from it, having finished it what feels like 2 years ago, even though it was 2 months ago, literally 2 months to the day, and seeing all these other people play it has been really nice. Like you and Tony and like Cam Hawkins on Twitter and just a lot of folks on Twitter just tweeting about like, okay, you know, I've got all this fucking time, I'm gonna actually play this game, and seeing their reactions and their takes on all the little things that they hate or all the little things that they love. It's really cool. I feel like a lot more people are giving that game a genuine shot, and the quality of life stuff is making that way easier, way more fun for them. So
I think I read something that like this is selling like gangbusters. Like Atlas is like super surprised by how well Persona 5 Royal's doing.
that's surprising. I feel like I haven't heard that. I've been hoping for that, but it would also make sense kind of in a similar vein to like Animal Crossing. Like everybody's cooped up right now. They want a big long game to sink their teeth into.
Yeah, Persona 5 Royal hits record sales in West, says Sega. This was 4 days ago.
Damn.
Has been a hit for Persona 5 Royal, appears to be a hit for Sega according to the company's latest financial reports. Persona 5 Royal began selling in the US March 31st, yada yada. With physical sales restricted, the ratio of digital sales increased significantly and remaining strong the fiscal year. May have been picked up by a lot of people because of the coronavirus. But yeah, it's
doing all right.
Doing good. So you had mentioned something like that this dethroned Persona 4 Golden for you is your favorite game?
Yes. Big deal.
Nice.
It was one of those like best RPG moments for me. Yeah, it was, you know, I talk about it on that Persona 5 fireside chat. A thing I didn't mention there that I wanted to mention, and it's not spoilery, so George Cruz told me, and it's a thing that's stuck with me so much because I really believe it, that Persona 4 Golden has a tendency to find people when they need it the most. And like when I originally played Persona 3, like it was when I was like bedridden because of chronic fatigue syndrome when I was in high school. And it was like this thing that I could do for hours and hours on end that was a great outlet for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then Persona 4 Golden I ended up playing in 2013, like right after I had my like kind of first bout of clinical depression, and like coming out of that and playing that game then was like it was like me opening up and seeing the world again for the first time in like 6 months, while also doing it vicariously through this really special game. So like I definitely agree with that sentiment. It was the thing that would need to happen for Persona 5 to be like transcendent, I think for me would be a right time, right place kind of deal for it. And I think the pandemic and kind of just where I'm at right now and where they decided to take those characters, all of that led to that kind of like really special blend for Royal. So yeah. It is a insanely tall task, and one going into it I was like, I'm not expecting this. It's not what I want out of this game. I just want to like be able to kind of enjoy it a little bit more than I did the first time around. And I think all of those everything was like the right temperature and it all worked. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Excited to hear your thoughts on the ending and everything. So keep playing.
I will probably be finishing it up tonight.
Anything else you've been playing?
I've been playing some Warzone with some friends. That's a lot of fun. EA really needs to freaking figure out how to not keep exploding that damn file size on my PlayStation.
EA or Activision?
Or Activision, excuse me. You're right.
You're good.
EA is Battlefield, but
it all bleeds together. It's all just a big soldier field for soldier boys. So.
It's a fun game with friends. I have a lot more fun just playing it with friends than just randos. So
that's cool.
Do the occasional match of that, but Most of my time's definitely been Persona.
Hell yeah. Tony, video games. I feel like Tony. I feel like we just talked about video games the other day, and we did. But I want to hear more. I want more. What you got?
So I am not playing any games this week at all except for Terraria.
Dude, nice. Can you
I dropped
finally tell us
everything
what's
else
new?
to play Terraria all week.
Do you feel good about that?
About what?
About dropping everything else to play Terraria of all games?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Okay.
And I will put this out there now. If you are a fan of video games and you have not played Terraria or haven't played Terraria in a long time, and you're not playing Terraria right now, you're fucking up.
Damn, dude.
Because the game is in the best state it's ever been in. You know, I think it has a wider appeal than just being something similar to Minecraft with a lot more combat. It's got modes that are suitable for every person who wants to play video games. I think as a person who plays video games, every person who plays them owes it to themselves to try out this game.
Damn. Now, we talked a little bit about it last week before you jumped in. Scott wasn't really sure what new they had added because they just put out like a patch, like presumably like the last update, right, for Terraria?
Yeah, so it's been in, kind of more rarely updated, but larger updates development for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And about 2 weeks ago, maybe like a little bit more than 1 week ago, an update came out that had sweeping changes for many systems in the game. Added a bunch of stuff, changed a bunch of stuff for the better, and is being called the last major update for the game.
Mm-hmm.
The developers have now declared that this game that was released 9 years ago is finished. So all they're doing now is bug fixes, but all the major content for the game is in the game. So it's kind of like the ideal of an early access game if you think about it. Though Terraria hasn't been in early access, but this ending is what you would expect out of an early access game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. That's cool. I mean, it's always cool when these kind of last minute updates come through, or the seemingly last minute ones come through.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of cool stuff going on in Terraria. You very quickly go from just I'm trying to survive and everything can kill me in one hit. If you're playing on the hardest difficulty, which we are,
Mm-hmm.
then which is great, by the way. The new difficulty that they added while played in a party of people, we've got 5 of us, is a huge amount of fun.
Okay.
It really, like, the game in this stage, it's cool because you mine for stuff, you get items from the world, you craft items in the world, you use that to progress through certain types of encounters, and those can have world-changing effects, and at the same time there are different forces at play in the world that you're in, so you need to try and contain some of those things, promote other things, and battle with all of these systems to try and get them keep them in line so they don't overtake your world and ruin everything. With all that other stuff, you're still trying to survive against these monsters. You're trying to get materials to build up your gear so you don't die as easily. There's a bunch of stuff to that end.
Is there anything that they like specifically added maybe earlier or anything else that like fundamentally changed the experience for you?
I haven't played the game in like 8 years.
Yeah. So it's all new.
Not everything. I mean, like, some of the stuff that was in there 8 years ago is still the core of the beginning of. But there's a whole like second half that they've added. A lot of new stuff in the active development time of the game. They've changed how a lot of things work. There's a lot of quality of life stuff in the game now that wasn't there before. So yeah, there's a lot to experience in that game for sure.
That's cool. Because Scott kind of he was under the impression that it was just endgame stuff, but it seems like maybe more than just that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the nature of some of the stuff that they've added kind of shakes up the entire game in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like adding a new difficulty, and other than that, adding stuff in all phases, in all parts of the game. They didn't just kind of like slap on a new end boss. You know what I mean? They've gone and they've updated things, added stuff to the game that can be used at the beginning, near the middle. At any point in the game, there's some new stuff in there, from what I've seen, that you could get. But especially for people who haven't had a lot of experience with Terraria or haven't played it in a long time, the whole game will feel very fresh. The only part that may feel like I've played this before may be like the first 15 to 20 minutes
Okay.
of getting your first, running around the top of the world and getting your first couple things. And then for us, who have now, we're like a week and a half into it, and kind of to continue with my story of what I was saying last week, where I didn't want to play with other people because it had been so long and I didn't remember how to play. And I didn't want to have that experience ruined of learning how to play again. So what I did was basically the next day after the podcast, I made a new world for just me and Scott to play in. And Scott made a new character, and we just kind of progressed through the beginning of the game over the next like 2 or 3 days. And we went through a bunch of all that stuff, and then we got to the point where we were just a little bit behind our group of friends who we usually play these kind of games with. So I went into the server with those guys, and they taught me some stuff, and I kind of caught me up to speed the last like 10% that I hadn't done between where we were and where they were, and we've been playing together since then in a big group of 6 people.
Was
all on one server.
Was there like a different cap of players you could have before? Was it like 4?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure you can have as many as you want on the server.
Okay. That is cool though. I like that you guys kind of separately went off to figure out what was going on and then came back together.
Yeah, Scott had been playing with them already, but like I said, I joined and had no idea what was going on. So I just wanted to experience the beginning part of the game. And your character can kind of jump between worlds. It's separate. You make your character and then you make a world, and you can pick that character and then go into any world. So I just took the guy who I had been working with the whole time and just moved, started playing on the other server. And in where we're at now, near the end of the progression of the game, it's got a lot of stuff for people who are going to get that far. It gets harder and harder as you go, but there are items in the game that are exceedingly rare, and I think that that's really cool for games that have this kind of progression, to have something to work for. Like to have an item that when you get it wasn't a guaranteed thing. You had to go and you had to beat the odds, to get this thing, and you have to put in the work, build. Since it's a building game, that's part of it, which you can use that to build things to make that easier for you. So you build like these farming arenas that will manipulate how the mobs will end up spawning, or you can make them spawn in convenient ways so that it makes it easier for you by using your environment.
That's cool.
So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do in that game, and even if you don't want to do stuff like that, you don't have to go that far. You could stay in the easier part of the game, and then there's a lot you could do, like all your building and stuff then, and then kind of move on to bosses or whatever you want to do to progress the game when you're ready for that. So it's cool. It's a really neat experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now that this is in its like final iteration, presumably, how does it compare to Starbound?
It's always been a better game than Starbound. It's just a different theme.
Yeah.
Starbound is a cool game. And it has a lot of the same influences,
Yeah.
But I think that Starbound focuses a lot more on space and sci-fi technology and stuff like that, where Terraria is more, high fantasy.
Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah, Terraria is just significantly more fleshed out than Starbound at this point. There's
That's
a lot
cool.
more there.
It's so cool. Like, I there's not a lot of other games that I can think of where if like they drop like a big update 9 years later, like I would be stoked about it.
Yeah,
it's just
I think
of an era,
It's really good for the game because if you it's like a more extreme version of the Path of Exile model, where they keep you coming back once every 3 months with a new update. They don't put out new content except with the new big update that also happens to coincide with the new season, which is what people want to come back for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's constant. They always do it in a 3-month interval, because then you think, you know what, I'm kind of busy at this point in my life. I don't know if I have time for this game right now, but in 3 months, it's going to be a new fresh start.
Yeah.
So I can come back then. That's what Path of Exile does, and Terraria kind of is doing that over a significantly larger amount of time. So you kind of right as you're getting to the point where you'd almost forgotten about the game, you're kind of like not really familiar with everything anymore, so it feels like it's fresh. when you go back to do all that stuff. So I think that really helped it out. A lot of Twitch streamers and all that coming back to play the game who haven't played in a really long time, and there's also for them, and a lot more of the people who are more hardcore gamers, there's this new, much more difficult mode to challenge themselves with. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I'm excited to hear if you guys are still playing it next week.
I think we probably will be.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hear Scott's thoughts whenever we can get him on. Cool. That's all you've been playing?
Yeah, literally. That's
the all-encompassing Terraria.
Yeah, I'll get back to Persona Royal soon.
You're good, man. Take your time.
Yeah, I'm not pressed to rush through.
Yeah.
I think one of the longer that I take to play that game, the longer that I have experiencing Persona 5 Royal for the first time.
Exactly. That's totally right there with you. Nabashin, it has come around to you, sir. Video games.
Not much really worth talking about. At least not right now.
You don't want to talk about finishing Sonic Heroes?
Yeah, come on, dude.
Tony and I are so pressed on these Sonic Heroes updates. I want you to know. We should start texting Tony and be like, what do you think he's going to say about Sonic this week?
True.
How is finishing Sonic Heroes? As miserable as playing Sonic Heroes?
Yeah, it was kind of like miserable, honestly. But yeah, it's done. Like I got through it, so
you're free now.
Like the last boss fight is really cool, really epic. Really great music, really good butt rock.
I've listened to that song specifically because I like it. So.
But yeah, like like it's gonna leak out of my brain, and like I'll never think about it again. Sonic Heroes. It didn't leave that much of an impression, honestly.
Is it like maybe the worst 3D Sonic game? Well, outside of the big ones, obviously, but like
the big ones?
like Sonic 06, Shadow the Hedgehog are like special, I think. But like thinking about like regular ass 3D Sonic, like Sonic Adventure, Sonic Colors, Sonic Unleashed.
Shadow the Hedgehog's not that bad.
Okay, that's good to hear. I've seen very little of Shadow the Hedgehog, like actual what that game is. I've just seen like the voice acting and like the opening cutscene, I think.
Yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog, which I'm playing now, is just tedious. It's just tedious, and like I said, there's like multiple endings of that game, and it's all about what you do when you play the game, where you like attack the gun soldiers, or whether you attack the aliens, or where you just say fuck all of it, I'm just doing what I want, just go straight to the chaos symbol type of thing. Those are like your real options of that game, and like
it's cool. I didn't know it was based around like
cool.
Yeah, in theory it's cool. I didn't know it was based around like which enemies you attack. Like that's a cool idea.
I mean, like it's like what enemies you attack, or like like hit these 3 switches because I need those up to stop gun or something like that, or make sure you put these barriers up so like the aliens won't attack, this type of thing. It's just various different things, and it's like so like the literal things of Shadow the Hedgehog is like you play the way you want to play, I guess you could say, or play all good, play all bad, or play this play you want to play. You get to the end, Shadow gets some kind of revelation. That's the word. This kind of some kind of what you said.
Revelation.
And,
yeah, I got you.
He gets that, and then like he says, "Oh, this is who I am," because like the intro song is like I Am is called, like the song's called I Am, so like
Will I Am
discovering who he is. So it's like, hey, I am an alien from another planet type of thing, or I am a guy who's like made a promise to this girl and want to keep it no matter what, or I am an android or whatever like that. Like without really looking for the proof of it, it's just like people telling him what he is or what he isn't, and he's like okay, and just like accepting that, or he's saying no, I'm not that, this is who I am. So like that's how that game ends 10 times, and then and then you get the Super Shadow stuff. So I beat it 2 times so far, so I have to beat 8 more times. in order to get
Oh my God, really?
That
Yeah.
sounds awful.
so I have to do that to get this Super Shadow ending and be done with the game.
God, I wish it was so easy to just show up to a party and be like, I am this. This is how I be. And then just be so confident in it, you know? Like, I am a badass motherfucker. Oh, wow, that guy's a badass motherfucker. You hear him
Oh, I
say
can't.
that?
I can't say anything against that. He's so confident in his statement.
Yeah. He shot up those guys, those aliens, instead of those people, so he must be a good dude. He's a badass motherfucker.
So like the controls aren't intuitive. Like they're not the best. But like playing it is definitely an upgrade from Sonic Heroes, which is weird enough.
Mhm.
Mostly like you control the way you want to, but it's like it's so cumbersome because it's like if you just run through the levels, like if you just like play as like a regular ass Sonic game, it's somewhat enjoyable, but you could beat the game in like less than an hour. But like when you have to do these tedious things, as far as like take out all the gun soldiers, like take out 35 gun soldiers in this level, and you see that it's like okay, so like there's probably like 100 of them like scattered throughout the stage, so like I'll get them on my way there as I see them or whatever. No, it was one of those things. There's exactly 35. So like if you miss one through the stage, you have to go back to wherever part of the stage and try to find this one character throughout the entire stage. So like so it's like a regular Sonic level, but like there's a part at the end where it's like, oh, you can go back to the beginning. You go to the beginning and like just run through the stage again and like try to like slow down to see like where the enemy is, that one that you need so you can like move on, or try to find a secret area. So like, oh, it's over here, like this little corner that I didn't see to like take out this one last person. So yeah, that's dumb. That's tedious.
That's so like of that era games though. Like I feel like so many GameCube PS2 games are like, oh shit, there's like a really important chest in that corner that you missed. You know, like I feel like that happens so much.
But what I'm saying though, like it can easily be rectified. Like just put a little bit more than normal
Yeah.
in your stages, and like they don't want to do that.
But
It's exactly that amount.
it makes you think about like how like Uncharted, right? Super influential, not just for all the design and stuff, but like the idea of like kind of color coding, and Mirror's Edge and stuff did this as well. So I won't give it all to Uncharted, but I remember how Uncharted kind of color codes like white or yellow the things that you can actually grab onto. So like after that, like you start noticing like colored areas that kind of indicate a wraparound wall or things that you can go around, and like Mario does that a little bit now too. It's cool. It's cool how people have adapted to make those things a little bit more clear. I'm curious, thought experiment here, Nabashin. I've got your ranking of Sonic up. We got 7 games on here. On the irrational passion scale. So this is 0 to 10, 20-point scale. So 0.1, 1.5, 2.5, etc. What would you? I want to go through and rank or rate each of the Sonic games that you've played, from bottom to top. Sonic Heroes, out of 10, what would you give this? 4.5.
20-point scale?
So 20-point scale just being like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. So 1 to 10 with 0.5 increments.
Is 5 average?
5 I would say is average, yeah. But it's a video game review, so 7's average.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if I can do a 10-point scale and 5 is average, I can give you exactly.
Yeah, I would rather you use the whole scale, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. If I give it from a 10-point scale, I would say like if 5 is average, I would say Sonic Heroes like a 4 out of 10.
Okay, that's acceptable. Sonic Adventure 2.
Sonic Adventure 2 is like 7 out of. Yeah, definitely 7 out of 10.
Okay. Sonic Adventure.
It's slightly better, but not by much. But I'll still say 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I feel like those two could probably live alongside each other. Sonic CD. This is Sonic CD. I don't know at all. Is the thing.
Sonic
So.
CD is a disappointment in a lot of ways. but it's still a well crafted game. It's just that you don't you don't know what the MacGuffin is really, like other than like the intro movie. Like it doesn't really like give you like a guide of what you're really doing. Which you can say like, oh, it's an old video game. You don't really need that, but like at the same time, it's like the time stones seem pointless, and like it seems like it's like building up to like a bigger thing that you should know about, like with the intro movie, and like when you go to the past, you see like holograms of like Metal Sonic like torturing animals or something like that. So it was like, you know,
Damn.
Shit gets dark.
Metal Sonic gets fucked up.
but it's still a really good game, really well mechanical game. So I'd probably give it like maybe in
7.5.
Sure, yeah, I'll break it to the 20 place scale for that. Plus,
Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one.
that's like a 7.5 as well. It's dated, but like I think the soundtrack is phenomenal, and like if you play it, if you think of it as a platformer, it's a really good game. If you think of it like what you normally think of Sonic games now, as far as like speed and stuff like that, then it's like it's not all that great. But like as a platformer, I think it's a very decent game.
Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
That's a 10 out of 10.
Damn. And Sonic and Knuckles Sonic 3, I assume, is also a 10 out of 10?
Yes.
Damn. I just want to say, out of 7 games, you gave 4 of them a 7, so reviewers are fine. That's all. I just want to say that. Just throw it out there. I'm just kidding. The woes of a video game reviewer. No, that's interesting. I'm always curious to see like what people would rate things, because I find a fascination in it. Okay, we got a little off track. That was a bit of a distraction for me. We were maybe still talking about Shadow the Hedgehog to some extent, but is there anything else you've been playing, Albushin?
Something I've been playing for like for weeks on and off that I keep forgetting to mention on the podcast. It just me keep replaying it over and over again. It's on Resident Evil 3. I've just been really enjoying just like pop it in and just like running through that game.
Yeah, I've done that twice also, like since I beat it. I've just quick played through the whole game in one sitting. Super fun.
Yeah.
What game?
Really, Resident Evil 3.
Resident Evil 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, super fun. That's a good like
really
3.
Good. It's something that would definitely say like it's not better than 2 in almost any way, shape, or form, but for some reason it's more of a satisfaction, more satisfying to play.
Yeah, I would say like 2 is a better critical game, but like I in a lot of ways enjoy Resident Evil 3 remake more.
And it might just be because like Jill's one of my favorite characters of all time, and like I just like her just fucking shit up.
She's like, real good at it, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think she's amazing in that game. So like
yeah, totally.
It's just one of those things where it's like yes, give me more Jill. Just put Jill in the box and I'll fucking play it type of thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. And Wonderful 101. I don't know if you had anything else you want to add with it.
I mean, I have thoughts, but I kind of want to save it for when we talk about it later, because like it makes me reassess a lot of things replaying that game.
Yeah.
Really just super enjoying it more than like I even remember I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where that conversation goes.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I still don't know like the thrust of it all, so I'm excited to just be along for the ride mostly. Look forward to IP Presents, more conversations with Nabish and I. Anything else?
That's probably it, honestly. I fixed my 360, and not my 360, my Xbox One X again, so that'll work for the next month before I can't use it again. So that was the thing I did today.
Such a bummer. Do you think you'll be able to trade it in toward that Xbox Series X without a problem?
Yeah, if I take out the disk drive and put it back in and like immediately go to like a GameStop or something like that, like, oh yeah, it still works, and it should be fine.
Yeah. And if
That's
it breaks a month later, they're not gonna fucking call you.
That's really what everybody does with their system.
Yeah, it's true. Me too. Same. I did that with my. I think I did that with my 360 and my PS3. Yeah. Just, got to work the system every now and again. I played some video games, and by some video games, I mean exclusively Kingdom Hearts video games.
Ooh.
I know. What a week. Okay. Trying to think, what did I talk about last week? And then what ground can I cover here? Played a little bit of Animal Crossing. I have not really been playing Animal Crossing, so I went and played it for the first time in about a week today. And I went and talked to all my villagers. They missed me. It's like, it's been 2 weeks since we saw you. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I love all of you. Pick some.
Have
Yeah.
you sold any of them on the black market yet?
The animals? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Is this a
You
thing?
certainly can.
Tips welcome. Who wants Pietro? I do still have Pietro, and maybe one of those filthy weebs out there will
Sell them for like thousands of tickets.
tickets
Peop-
too.
People do that, dude.
That's
There's like a tier list of which villagers are the most desirable.
that's so fucked, and I love it. Animal Crossing sub communities are so
Dark.
great. They're dark, but they're the best. So I played that. I'm trying to think of anything that isn't Kingdom Hearts I played this week. Because I don't really think there was much of it. I really hunkered down. I was like, I'm gonna get through this. In a very unhealthy, shirk the responsibilities and friendships and people around you in the real meat space world kind of way. That's how I like to do things on this podcast. I get super depressed and play an entire franchise back to back.
Hell yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, the best way to do it. That's all I'm saying. So last we talked, I was playing through Kingdom Hearts 2. I think I had finished 2 and I started Birth by Sleep. So 2 is great. I feel like there were other things, like I talked about, like how quickly I got through all the end bosses and all that. Great. There were other, like, I said at the top of this, like, I'm trying to do something or play these games differently. Do something different in these games. And I'm continuing that, The only, I guess, exception to that would have been Birth by Sleep, which when I was playing through Birth by Sleep again, I just was not having fun, man. I think I really came to grips that I just really do not like the combat system in that game. And by an extension, Dream Drop Distance as well, which I pretty much just skipped playing Dream Drop Distance just because, like, going through Birth by Sleep again, and I played it differently this time in that I played all the characters simultaneously, so I would play through to, like, the next story beat. Like, there's some pretty natural stopping points, and then I would play as another character and play through them up to the same point and then play through, which was cool. It was a different way to play that game. And typically they just have you play through Terra all the way, then Ven all the way, then Aqua all the way, and then the secret episodes. But playing through them, side by side, it's a different experience that I liked a lot. And it's nice to kind of know what's going on at any given time instead of kind of still like, it's nice to get to that final fight where, like, you see, like, the three of them come together in, like, this long conversation 3 times and know what each character is talking about when you get there, and then just kind of have the added context of going through it back to back 3 times. It was cool, but I just didn't really enjoy playing the game, which was a bummer. I've decided that I really don't like the command board style gameplay, and I don't like how in that game the finish commands and all that always take the kind of primary attack slot that you have. Like, it might be a subtle distinction, but in Kingdom Hearts 3, when they kind of tie that to a different button press and let you always be able to attack and everything, it makes all the difference, and it makes those games, or like that game, just take that idea way further and make it way more fun for me. But even still, I got through it. I cried a lot at the end of Birth by Sleep. Can't not. It's cool, like, thinking about it. There are very few video game prequels that are good, I think, but there are very few video game tragedies, I feel like a traditional, almost Shakespearean style tragedy. And that game is, and I think that's cool. There's not a lot of games like it, not, I guess, it cut from the same cloth, I should say. So then we get to Dream Drop Distance, and I started playing it, and I was like, I don't want to do the command board style thing again. I don't like any world, I think, in Dream Drop Distance, like, level design wise. I like Three Musketeers. I like Tron Legacy. I like these things. but like in the actual levels, we're walking around those areas in the same vein as Birth by Sleep, like they just feel like super plain and uninteresting. They don't have the same personality that 1 and 2 worlds have. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's do something I haven't done in Dream Drop Distance before. I'm gonna get Ultima Weapon with both characters, which requires beating the secret boss, which I had not done before. But then I'm just gonna watch all the cutscenes because, you know, whatever. I wanted to do something, but I didn't want to play through the whole game again. So I did that, which was fun. It was cool learning, you know, a different kind of fight and doing it, cheesing it a little bit, and kind of like relearning that system just for like this really tough fight. So then I watched all the cutscenes and then I played through the end of the game, which I was happy with. I was very sad because like there's not a lot that happens in the middle of that game, front loaded, back loaded. So I played through and fought all the final bosses and everything, which I'm glad I did because those are still really fun. And then I finished Dream Drop Distance and I played Fragmentary Passage. That's great. Did all that fine. Played it on normal mode because I was like, I just want to get to the good stuff. Now I'm playing through Kingdom Hearts 3. We're in it again. Come back around. Super weird, I'll say. Like coming back around. Like this feeling of like something being super, super familiar, but I don't remember it at all. And again, like I'm gonna play this game differently. I'm gonna try and do different things. Trying to incorporate more of the systems in that game. Like I'm using the summons way more, which have been really fun. I'm doing things like mechanically a little bit different, trying to like turn off some of the abilities that it just front loads you with, just so that way I can kind of play the game a little bit more bare bones and more naturally progress myself out, which has been cool. And it, you know, same thing I did with Kingdom Hearts 2 of like go to the harder world of the two available to you at any given time instead of the easier world and kind of play through the linear track, which is good because it means that some parts of the Kingdom Hearts 3 are actually quite difficult, which has been fun. And also like just slow way down. I'm like super taking my time with 3, and it's been great, man. I like so love that game so much, and now like really just seeing 1, 2, 3 of like trying to figure out what's the magic sauce in each of those games individually, and I really think it's the level design. Like I think they really went back to what Kingdom Hearts 1 was with how they made the levels and worlds in Kingdom Hearts 2 or 3, and I love it, man. I just love it so much. I don't know if I have like a lot to add or say. Like I haven't really been playing 3 all that differently, but just, you know, going through it again and playing it again has just been fun, super fun, and it makes me happy. And that game is great. I like it's good to have the distance and come back and still enjoy it, as opposed to come back and be like, well, I mean, this isn't that good, you know, that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, it's I unironically love that game. I think it's legitimately great, and it makes me just think about like all the criticism that it got, and I get it, you know, whatever. But just I really am thankful for how they decided of all the routes they could have gone of like making this smaller focused, or, you know, what if we did a Castle Oblivion world, or you know, did more Kingdom Hearts bullshit. And instead, they just did more of the Disney bullshit that I didn't know I needed, and I ended up really liking. So, yeah, I'm in the Frozen world in 3, and I'm just having a great time. I like.
What's on the docket after Kingdom Hearts 3?
I've no idea. Nabashin messaged me today reminding me I have to play Metal Gear Solid 5, and just the guilt for that, and 999. If I'm not gonna play like one of my main, like the thing is, maybe I should just take a break from video games for like 4 days and then figure out what I want to play. So I don't know. I'm gonna go through and do all the stuff for 3. You know, I'm gonna do all the data fights and all the this and that, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I don't know after 3. Maybe like obviously those 2 that, you know, I kind of owe playthroughs for, but like maybe something that's been eating away at my backlog for a long time would also be a good thing. Something that I haven't played before is the goal, which means like of those two games that you sent me, Nabishin, probably 999 would be good. Would be better for me because I feel like I've just been leaning too much on replaying games lately. I should play other stuff, play new stuff. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything coming out on the horizon that I'm excited about outside of like Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario now. But those are all.
You gonna snag East in a couple weeks?
I might, but I should finish East 8 before I play Celceta. Or I think that's Celceta, right? Is the
Yeah.
That's another game that I'm like 60 hours into, and I probably have like a little bit left, probably like more than 5 hours left, but not that much left. And I should see the end of that. So I don't know. I just got that backlog guilt and all the games that I started that I haven't finished, and trying to figure out what I want to do. It's tough. It's very tough. But I don't know. I want to play, I want to play Cold Steel. I want to play all these RPGs. I want to play other games that I promised people I would play. And then I have like a bunch of garbage that I re-downloaded, like Assassin's Creed Origins and stuff like that. It's like, well, I could make other bad decisions, but we'll see. We'll see where the cards take me. The Dream Drop Distance cards. I think that's it. I don't think I played any other video games this week. Or last. I also feel like I'm really forgetting something that I'm gonna regret. Tomba. I didn't play Tomba this week. I didn't end up streaming, which I feel bad. I was going to a couple of days, but I've been very depressed, so motivation doesn't exist for me right now. So I don't know. If it comes to me, I'll write it down and talk about it next week. But that's it. That's video games. That's all I've got prepared for us. I didn't end up. Yeah.
Nabishin. I was watching one of my favorite Twitch streamers play Terraria earlier this week. And he was doing a segment on one of his streams before he went back to Terraria, like his morning stream. Apparently he's been playing Virtue's Last Reward, for like a year. And so I just happened to catch the finale stream of that game. And so now I've seen the entire ending of that game, and I'm very confused.
I can only imagine having. I mean, like the thing, Tony, you've played like a Danganronpa before. You know these visual novels
so
can get out there.
I was kind of like okay with what was happening, and the end of that game, they just explained basically the entire plot of the to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was watching that thing, and I was like, okay, I kind of get it, but holy fuck, this game is a lot more in it than I thought there was.
Yeah.
That's always the sense I got from those games of like they're very convoluted.
But I don't know. It seemed like it'd be fucking cool game now that I've heard that, but I don't know if I'd get much out of it now that I know the whole.
I think you will, especially because like that's only like the second part. Because like Zero Time Dilemma's right after that, and then that's what shit really gets buck wild.
Yeah, because I saw the part at the end that is like the not canon part. You know what I'm talking about? That
There's
part.
a lot of not canon parts.
Yeah, but like specifically the one where they're talking to the player.
Sure.
There's a couple of those. And so yeah, there's some weird shit in the end of that game, bro. And I just wanted to let you know that I somewhat understand some of that game now.
You should.
I want to
finish Danganronpa.
I want to do a
3.
shout out to Nabishin as well, since let's talk to Nabishin part segment.
Yeah, my favorite part of the podcast.
Nabishin, thoughts on Ultra Instinct Goku?
Oh, UI is so good, dude.
He is, right?
He's not even so good. It's not like he's broken or something like that, but it's more of like he's so complex and so like he's one of those like Shin Akuma type of things where it's like like he's so OD as far as like the stuff he can do, but it's like you can kind of take him out relatively easy if you just know his stuff. Yeah, and but like at the same time though, it's like if he gets one hit on you, you're almost done. So
yeah, dude, I love countering like specials and stuff with like his teleport and how he literally just walks through generic ki blast, like so badass.
Yeah,
so good.
He's such a unique character. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Like Max started playing as him online to try it out. Even went back online for a while just to even like just play it, and he actually had some good matches. It was like he just rediscovered that he loved the game again, in a way. If everything works online.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it's crazy how good
Oh,
that
it's
character
so
is.
cool. Who do you think is going to be the next character?
It's hard, man. Like, because
I think it's going to be Omega Shenron. I think we're going to get a GT villain.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, that's sort of a bummer for me as far as like a character roster, but like, there's not much they can really pick from now. Like, they got like Topo, the guy with like the big arms, and from Super, and like
Need Roshi. We got to have Roshi. That'll bring the he's the last character that's not in the Tournament of Power.
yeah.
Or that's in the Tournament of Power that we don't have, as far as I know. Like from Universe 7, I should say.
Yeah. Like, it could be him, it could be the that
Pycon.
love yeah, Pycon. Pycon would be
Pycon.
awesome even. Oh, that's such a
Pycon or
that is such a
Tapian.
good pick. That is
I
such a
know,
good pick.
right? That'd be cool.
Oh man, Pycon. I don't know why I thought about Pycon. Pycon is a good pick.
It's a
Ooh,
good.
that-
He would be a
that's
good one.
That should be the character.
What about
I'm thinking about.
the three dudes that were on the ship in the Majin Buu arc, like the three or the two alien guys that Goku and Vegeta just fucking destroy?
Oh, yeah, the
Oh.
Russian named dudes.
Yeah,
Pycon and the Bora?
yeah. Well, not Deborah,
Oh.
the one before Yakon or whatever, the green.
Oh,
guy.
I thought Alex was talking about the two like generic crazy
No,
people
not
that were in the tournament.
not Spopovich or whatever.
Popovich, yeah.
No, the
DeBurrow and Bobbity?
no, there's
Talking about Pui and Yarkon.
yeah, Pui Pui
Oh,
and Yakon. Yes, thank you. How could I forget Pui Pui?
True MVP. Or what about Farmer with a Shotgun? That would be a good
Farmer with the shotgun would
good
be
addition.
a great character.
Or Blue Dog Mare. Also
One.
another good one.
Power level of 1. Is Raditz in it?
No,
No.
he is not.
That's
Did you play Kakarot, Scott?
Hmm?
Did you play Kakarot?
I did.
Did you stick with it? Did you get to the end of it? Because like I
No.
kind of just I
I
stopped out for like real quick.
I'm the
I bought it.
only person I know that finished that game.
like had I not spent like so much time playing the Xenoverse games, I think I would have had a much better time with Kakarot.
Sure.
But the combat was a dumbed down version of the Xenoverse combat, and I have played through the story of Dragon Ball Z so many times that it's like whatever. Okay,
Yeah,
I see what it's doing. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
it had been
I'm-
long enough for me. I think that replaying through that story, I was just stoked about doing it again. Yeah, it was fun.
It did a lot of cool things, and I'm glad that it sold well, because I can't wait for Kakarot 2 to retell the story of Dragon Ball Z again with slightly better graphics and a couple new moves.
More
And
in depth combat.
Maybe
system.
another additional thick chick to the Ginyu Force
Yeah,
as a bonus character.
more bonus characters of cool ladies in the Ginyu Force.
Yeah, man.
Totally. Yeah, I don't know. I think even still, like, that's definitely one of my 10 games this year, probably. Just because, like,
I get why people really like it.
it's,
And it's nothing about the game itself that pulls me away. It's just I played a lot of Xenoverse, and it felt just like a simpler Xenoverse, and I didn't need the story anymore. So it's like I get what it's doing. I appreciate it. I get why Alex likes it a lot, and that's cool. I'm just too many other games right now. So, but
yeah.
I'm glad it's selling well. So.
Yeah.
And Xenoverse 2 is up to like 6 million sold copies. It's ridiculous.
I feel like it's always on sale. It helps too, I'm sure. But no, it's definitely like when I played it, I was talking to Nobshin about it, like, and all you guys about it. Like, it's a swimming in sevens game that is just like right what I needed, like right what I needed at the beginning of the year. You know,
Mhm.
right before Kingdom Hearts. You know, like it had it was a very perfect storm for that game for me, and I'm really happy with it.
Have you gotten any of the DLC stuff for it, Alex?
No, I looked into it just because. So like, there's one that's like the first like super movie.
Yeah,
Battle-
Battle of the Gods
Battle
kind
of
of
the
thing
Gods.
with Beerus.
I don't know if that's in the game yet, but like I was thinking of once it was out, it depending on like I would take a look at what it is. If it is just like essentially more of the game through the some of the super stuff, I would get it. I would play it.
I believe it is because you get God Goku and stuff, and you fight through like the Beerus stuff.
Which is cool. I might do that at some point. But I don't know. I'm not fully committed yet, but I would be stoked like toward the end of the year to have an excuse to go back to that game and check it out again to kind of remind myself about it. So I might wait until then. Anything else? Any other Nobtion questions burning in anybody's heart? Let me go check Twitter. There's 1,000 at Nobtion186. How do you feel about Sonic?
Oh, Matt Stormageddon did send in a question. I don't know if he sent it through the I don't think he didn't use the hashtag. He replied to my tweet that I was going to be on here. But
Sure.
What's the RPG you felt the most accomplished for beating, like after beating?
The most accomplished?
Yeah. What's the RPG you felt the most accomplished after beating?
I'll say
Like the first time or ever?
Ever.
Up there for me, I'm curious, Tony, if you'll feel similarly, but up there for me was when I finally finished Tales of Xillia, because the final boss in that game is so buck wild.
Yo, fuck that boss, dude.
It's fucking
Gaius?
absurdly difficult out of almost nowhere. Yeah. It's awesome. It's like one of the most epic fights in any Tales game. Yeah, that Gaius fight is awesome.
Great design too. Fuck.
Yeah. That's the only boss fight in that whole game where you have to fight someone that's linked like you are. And it's like, man, I really wish they would introduce this earlier. Like, I really wish I had to figure this out earlier because this is super hard. Yeah, that one's up there. And the Tales of Vesperia final fight is, if you do like the secret final fight, is no fucking joke.
True story.
So like coming off of those, when you finish that, like the high of beating those last bosses is real intense. So those are up there for me. I know that's probably not what he's asking per se, but
no, it for me, I think probably the one that stands out is probably the first time I beat the original Persona 5, just because it was like it had been a long time since I played that long of an RPG, and just the crazy stuff that goes on at the end.
Yeah.
Of the original game, and like seeing that all for the first time, it was nuts.
Yeah, even getting through 5 Royal like twice in a row back to back. The second time where I was like, I'm gonna kind of put this game away for a little bit now. Obviously, very melancholy. I talked about it on here, but just it is such a lengthy, involved experience. You know, there's nothing quite like it. An hour for me, 256 hours. You know, was my final time when I like walked away from that game. No regrets. Do you have one option? I know you don't play a lot of JRPGs, but
Just RPGs, so it can be any RPG. So
Mass Effect 3, the end finally.
Yeah, that was satisfying. Did you hear sarcasm in that? I don't know.
I did.
Tell me.
What? You didn't think it was rewarding, and you didn't feel accomplished choosing between 3 colors? What?
Come on, man.
I mean,
Nonsense.
Citadel fixed it. Anyway.
Citadel is a satisfying ending for Mass Effect, honestly.
Like my 2, I think I have 2, and like only ones I can really think of is like beating Margaret in Persona 4 Golden, because like everyone was maxed out at 999 at that point, but she was still
ain't
just
no
so
joke.
hard. So yeah, I beat her during Extra Life, and that was like a very satisfying.
I remember that. That was is that the moment you got the plat, or was that just?
No, the plat was I think it was Rise.
It was the recent one.
Because I think the Rise one was the plat.
Oh, I remember having to try and help you grind that fucking achievement.
Yeah.
Playing Persona on your fucking Switch.
Yeah.
Or not your Switch,
Your Switch 0.5, the Vita, yeah.
Right there, that was the title. And the other one was like probably just like the World Ends with You in general on DS. One of those few games that I 100%ed. Like did everything I could, and like I have so many hours into it. I don't know what my hours at right now. But like like it was just so fun just to like like just playing that game over and over again, and like just like have it more satisfying. Like I just turn the dial down to my level, make myself level 1 again, and like just like fight stuff, and I don't know, man, like getting all the pins for that game, just doing everything in that game. Like I still love the world with you, like a whole lot on the DS. Clarify, on the DS. The
Yeah.
world is very, 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 very good.
Is it weird to you? I guess it's probably not weird, but is it a bummer to you that there is like new stuff in that game that you still never seen?
Sure.
I know it also
It's
requires.
only myself that's holding back. Like,
Yeah.
I can do it. I just don't want to.
Yeah, but like that I have a lot of similar things where it's like it's only myself holding it back, but it's still weird knowing that there's like stuff out there about games that I like that I don't know.
I mean, like Zone of the Enders 2 is still like one of my favorite games ever. I don't know.
So good.
I don't know how that game ends still to this day because I never beat it.
I love that. So
Two
much.
giant robots fight, and then one of them wins.
Yeah.
As any good mecha anime / video
I
game.
mean, sure, but like, does Diego die at the end of that? Probably. Like, there's no way he could come back from that. But like, how does that game end? I would like to know. Eventually, when I get around to it, I'll buy it like 7 times. I have every access way to play it. I just need to actually.
Someday you'll know.
Maybe I'll stream it. Who knows? Twitch.tv.
Tony still doesn't know how Danganronpa V3
Stream it with the
ends.
VR mode, like you're in the cockpit of Jehuti.
I've never tried VR.
One of these days.
PlayStation VR.
You didn't do the Mika concert at that one extra layer?
No, it was just me. Cannot
I did that shit.
cannot do
I'm
it.
pretty sure we subjected Scott to that. As
Yeah,
well.
no, Scott.
The
Yeah,
other-
Scott.
The other Scott, the cool.
Damn. Sorry, Scott White.
Ouch.
Sorry, Scott. But I have to differentiate you somehow. So other Scott is the cool Scott.
Cool Scott and Scott.
You could have just left it at other Scott.
No, because then that sounds like I'm being mean
To be fair,
to Scott.
He wears a badge of honor saying when he call him Other Scott.
yeah, Scott Guthier is the one that said like I want you all to refer to me exclusively as other Scott.
It's so funny.
Scott Prime and other Scott. That's how it works.
I'm Scott Prime and I'm Scott 1.
Scott 1, Scott A.
Scott 1 and Scott A. Tony, you've had plenty of time to think. What was the most satisfying RPG?
I had one from the beginning.
Yeah.
Mine would be not really for difficulty, but for sense of accomplishment would be actually finishing Divinity Original Sin.
Yes.
Because that game is long. There are a lot of puzzles. And the nature of how I play that game is I'm always playing with a party of like 3 other people on the internet. And it's very hard to get through that game with that many people over that period of time.
Yeah.
So actually finishing that game co-op was an achievement for sure.
Totally. And a friend of mine, a friend of the show, Reb Valentine, is like in the middle, I think, of a playthrough of that game with like 3 other
Godspeed.
people.
Let's all hope they get past Act 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're in it now, but like they've been doing it for like 6 months. You know, like this is like
crazy.
a
It's like
full
a D&D
commitment.
campaign in a game.
Yeah.
It's really a time commitment if you're trying to co-op it.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing solo, it's a huge time commitment.
This was my fear, Scott, when we got Twitter mentions asking people to play this game with us. But it is one of those things where, because it is like a D&D campaign, I do want to play
Oh, dude,
it.
you'd fucking love it, and I would love to play that shit with.
Yeah, that could be really fun. Right now I don't have a platform I can play it on with other people.
Yeah, just build a PC, dude. Easy.
All right.
I can have it on PS4 and PC.
I wish it was crossplay. God, that would make things easier. I think we can all answer. I also wanted to shout out, like, doing all the stuff in a Kingdom Hearts game is a special kind of satisfying.
I was also gonna say 100%ing The Witcher 3 was
Yes.
huge too.
Oh, damn.
That was a fucking journey.
Yeah. You and Nobishin doing that. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that, honestly. Like, mm-mm.
I still need to go back and play Blood and Wine. I've never done.
Me too.
Oh my god.
We should do a Blood and Wine podcast just so that we all have an excuse to go play that game.
Yeah, I did. I 100% Hearts of Stone, and I like you, Alex. Will remember because I had a very specific tweet that we talked about like 15 times. Where we talk about it every time we talk about The Witcher. This fucking tweet where I was like, "Feels good to be back." Now it's just like sick tweet.
Sick tweet, bro.
Real talk. Tell me whenever you have the time. Whenever you say, "Hey, I'm going back to Blood and Wine," I'll jump in.
Yeah, I'll do it too. Fuck it, man.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about doing it. I've got it installed on my PS4. So
Text us. I have it installed on my Xbox. I would do it, man.
I just think that when I do that, I might have to play through the whole game again.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure when I'm going to commit to that.
That's why I'm glad I replayed through that game recently. So I'm like pretty primed for at least another year or so if I want to go jump into Blood and Wine.
I started watching after I finished Persona. I started watching like Carnage's Persona playthrough on YouTube while working several months ago. We talked about it on the show. I started watching him playing The Witcher 3, but I stopped because I realized that if I watch him play this, it's going to be years before I play The Witcher. So I want to see the DLC and stuff, so I need to be able to play that.
Yeah, totally. No, I think that would be fun if all three of us especially went on that journey and then came back and talked about it.
I just rebought it on PC for some dumb reason.
For those load times,
like
dude.
the gold edition's like $10 or something for that 5-year anniversary.
It's on sale all the time. So.
Yeah, it's literally on sale all the time. And I bought it on Xbox One X like a year ago, and I never touched it. And I already owned it on PS4, and I just bought it on PC just because I literally bought that today. But whatever.
That frame rate, those load times is the thing, honestly. Like, it's a complete game changer.
Oh, that's right. SSD. I got an SSD.
Yeah. Dude, I playing 30 seconds of that game with no load times, I was like, I can't keep doing this. I gotta stop because I'll never be able to play this game again. Okay. I think that's the show. That was a fun little... We should have potpourri as a segment of like, let's just talk about whatever let's ask Nabishan questions and talk about whatever for fucking 30 minutes. Add it to the doc every week. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks to the folks that jumped into our Twitch chat, which we are live on tonight. And I very much appreciate it. Impromptu switch to Twitch. I might have to check some streaming software to see if it still works. Hopefully it does. But if you'd like to be a part of the show, you can do so in a variety of ways. You can email us, mailsack@irrationalpassions.com. Leave us a voicemail at 404-590-1337. Just keep in mind, standard long distance fees do apply. Or tweet your questions at IrrationalPod with hashtag IPQ. Or tweet him at Scott White if he's going to be on the show. He'll tell us about him. For everything else, you can follow the show, the website, everything on Twitter at IrrationalPod. Like mentioned before, myself, Nabishan, and Scott White are on Twitter at AlFighter27. It's me at NABESHIN186. That's Nabishan. Scott, you were at SolidSnake120.
Indeed.
And you should follow all of us. Tony's at Tony Horvath. If he's got a sick tweet, you should tell him about it. Check out all of our video stuff on Twitch and YouTube. Just look for Irrational Passions. And rate and review us wherever you are listening to us, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Play, whatever you got. We would really appreciate it. And for everything else, Irrational Passions, irrationalpassions.com. That's it. That's the place to be. We've reached the end of the show. It's time for bets. Scott, do you remember? I believe you're on Scott Guthier's team.
Yeah, I think I'm on the Scott team. I think it's the Scott team.
Scott team, yeah. This week's bet. This time next week, how many concurrent Phantasy Star Online 2 viewers will be on Twitch? I wanted to do something pure. And I had a couple of complicated ones back to back. So I was like, let's just do something chill.
Is it officially out next week?
It's officially out on Friday of this coming
on
week.
PC, but it's been officially out on Xbox for a while.
Yeah. I'm expecting probably a nice little bump from folks. So.
Oh yeah.
PS4 one then?
What'd you say?
PS4 is coming.
Yeah, we don't know when, right?
Nope.
At some point. So yeah, I'm expecting a nice little bump. Probably nothing crazy. Do you want me to look up? Let's see how it's doing right now, because I actually don't.
Currently at 220 viewers.
Nice. That's what I was expecting right about now. I'm gonna say, I'll kick us off. I'm gonna say 8,000 viewers. Nabishan?
It all depends if Max streams. So the Max stream, that's 10,000 right there.
That's 10,000 right there. Yeah.
At what is it? The highest concurrent streamers, or is it just like
this time next week?
Okay.
Yeah, he won't have time for that. So I'll
He won't
say,
be. Max won't be streaming right now this week at this time.
No. Yeah, it'll be like around. I'll say
6,000.
6,000.
Okay, that's a good bet. Scott White.
I'm going with 2.2 thousand, so 2,200.
Tony.
0.
Damn. It has 200. I guess you're just going for the low bet. I get it.
Man.
That's smart though.
Nah, it's gonna be 0 viewers. Watch.
The game crashes. It's banned from Twitch.
Just down.
In the top 5, last week's bet. In the top 5 Maneater reviews, how many references to Jaws will we see? I'd said 9. Option said 7. Scott Guthier said 4. Tony said 0. Very optimistic, Tony. I like it. It's 2 0 bets in a row also.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure the one before that was 0.
No. The one was an hour before. That was like the how long will the speed run be?
Oh yeah.
0.
0. Really good.
Godlike. There were 7 references. Only one of them was the one that was my favorite. Was we're gonna need a bigger shark, which is really funny. But that means you got it right on the money, Nabishin. Which brings you're back in the lead, friend. Brings the current point standings to this. I am at 3 points. Nabishin is at 6 points. Scott Guthier is at 1 point, and Tony is at 5 points. Way closer, I think, all things considered, than I thought we would be at this point. I thought Nabishin would have 10 points, and the rest of us would have 1. So it's really just gonna come down to Nabishin and Tony. I know it. Scott and I are gonna be fucking vying for 3rd place. But so far so
Do
good.
we have stakes on these bets? I forgot what the stakes are. If we do,
We have stakes on the fantasy critic team, but
we did.
I was
Update.
do you want to do
dude,
fantasy critic update?
I'm sure Nabishin bought like 13 more games with 1 coin.
I got one more, so I'm pretty excited about that. Let's check in at fantasycritic.games. You can draft review scores with your friends and have a great time. Let's see, what's the fantasy critic updates. Nabishin, your team, I think, still in the lead. No, actually. Nabishin is in 2nd place with 151.98 points. That's projected. I'm looking at projected. That's always fucks me up. Nabishin's still in the lead, 69.9 points. Nice. Very nice. Then Scott with 58.99 points. Tony with 10.37 points. And I'm not trying to brag here, but I've got a hot negative 5.97 points. Oh, man. Different story than the betting the betting conversation. A little bit different. But hey, there's plenty of time left in the year. You know what I mean? Not really. I feel like none of my games are going to come out at this point. I want everyone to know I have my counter pick is out. Obviously, I lost a lot of points on that. And then and then Resident Evil 3 is out, which I got 9 points from. All the other games are not out. And really thinking about it, maybe 3 of them aren't coming out this year. So I have my list is Last of Us Part 2, which will be fine. I'll get some points on that. Spelunky 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Elden Ring, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Tales of Arise, which, again, those last, 5 games might not come out. Who knows? I don't know if nothing's come out. The only thing that came out, you lost a point on Wonderful 101 Remastered now, which is a bummer.
That's fine.
But that's, the only thing that's come out since the last update, I think. Yeah, so. Nothing has come out still. Scott's the only person with a completely clean, positive. No hits, no negatives. Because he just took the hits. That's how you win, y'all. You just got to take the hits. That's the end of the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out, for listening, for tuning in live. If you did tune in live, we very much appreciate you. Hopefully this will get archived and uploaded and everything fine. But if it doesn't, I'm sorry. If you're listening now and it doesn't, just think about how special you are. That's all I got. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music. Oh yeah, there is a final word. I'll get that after the thank yous. Thank you, Danny Wiesner, opening music, Two Player Co-op, closing music, World is Saved. Thank you, Scott White, for joining us. I hope you had a good time.
Was a blast as always, my friend. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I put out a call today saying, because I'm not good at really knowing like genuinely who wants to be on the show. I've been asking for guests for a few years now. Put out a call. Thanks to everybody who responded saying like, hey, I would love to come on, or hey, I've listened before and I would like to hang out and chat about games. Hopefully we will start trickling in some guests, which means we're probably going to see less of the editors on for a little bit, which is a little sad, but maybe we'll figure out a way to get everything working. But my hope is 3 guests a month and then 1 editor a month to kind of fill out the weeks.
Fuck them.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't don't tell anyone that. Now we've reached the end of the show. Nabashin, you won the bet. Is there anything you want to reiterate? Any last thoughts you want to put out of the ecosystem, unabated, uninterrupted?
There's kind of 2 things. One, I just wanted to say, hey, Tony, you should go grab Paper Mario before Alex does.
Oh.
And
Too late.
And
we'll see.
I just wanted to say this tweet that I put out. That's because I thought it was really cool. And it says, there are games that are just fun to play, and there are games that are objectively well made, and that gives you an amazing experience. But there are those rare games that actually speak to your depths of your fucking soul, and that's all I want to say.
Hell yeah. That's the show. Thank you everybody so much for hanging out. We love you all very much. I love you all very much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Nabashin. I love you boys very much. Big hugs all the way around. See, I don't even have to change the intro because Scott and Scott got the same first name. The outro, I should say. I've been Alex and Neil. Play your games. Stay rational. We will talk to you all next week.
Title. Switch point 5, the Vita. And that's it.
That's it. Were there any other ones that you had, Nabashin?
There was probably more. I'm sorry, I had to take a step away for a while because my boss called me. So.
Oh, you're good, man.
Yeah, I had to do something.
We just said some dumb shit about RPGs, the usual.
The best stuff.
I think yeah, I'll take this one. I like this one. Let me write this down. Should I now, Scott White? I'll ask you this because this was asked me recently. Is it you're listening to the Irrational Passions podcast, or is it you're listening to Irrational Passions podcast?
You're listening to Irrational Passions podcast, I would say. I don't know. It's your podcast.
No, I honestly I have no idea either way.
you put a "the" in the sentence, okay? That's how it works.
Okay, I'll put a "the." I think "the" sounds a lot more official.
Shouldn't it?
Though, right?
The I don't know.
Hey, you have to say "z" because it's a vowel.
Yeah, you're right. It's a vowel sound afterwards. I can say the title, Scott, if you are feeling so confident. Whenever you're ready. Oh, I should put in the episode number. You're listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. Full stop. Was it 460? Whichever one it is.
You're listening to the Irrational Passions podcast, episode 468.
Switch point 5, the Vita. We did it. Thank you everybody for watching. We love you all. Have a very good night.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Good talking to you guys. Nabashin, we have to try and do Dragon Ball